They threw a throttle body on it. It didn't fix the problem. I was getting ready to put a computer on it because I guess I'll just say I was going to be lazy. I just assumed it was going to be a computer. That's what my gut told me. What's up, everybody? Pete with Auto Repair Tips. I got an 11 Silverado. Customer says they were driving along. The loss of power light came on and he couldn't get out of his own way. So they went home. They had, I think, one of the auto parts store diagnose it, and they looked at it. They threw a throttle body on it. They did a relearn, they said, and took off again. He said a day or two later, he's driving along, the loss of power light came on, loss of power, engine didn't go anywhere, and they were just kind of like stranded. Cut the key off, turned it on, and finally started back up, and they were able to milk it here. So that's where we're at right now. So the first thing I'm gonna do is throw the scanner on it, and let's see what kind of codes are in this car. Let's get into it. All right, let's go into the code menu. Let's display codes. You know, normally the first thing I would do is condemn the aftermarket part, but I don't know, my gut's telling me let's just go check out some readings first. All right, so looking at the codes, it's got a P0122 throttle position sensor circuit 1 is low voltage. Okay, throttle position sensor 2 has got high voltage. Throttle position sensor 1 and 2 are not in correlation. So looking at those three codes, I think what I need to do is go ahead and pull a wiring diagram. Let me disconnect the connector. Let me see what the volts should be on each one of those wires, and let's start taking some readings. Let's make sure we got the right signal going to that throttle body. The one in question though is the low voltage. I think, if anything, that's gonna be our culprit. So probably gonna start with that one. All right, I got you up on the big screen. Let's go ahead and go back to the home page. Let's go to repair. We've got a 2500 series HD. Yes, I do. All right, let's go to throttle body first. Throttle body. We have a 4-door pickup. It is 4-wheel drive. It is automatic. So let's look at the wiring diagrams. Throttle body is right here. So you can make that a full screen. Let me get my little pointer here. My fingers are too dang fat for this. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So it looks like for the TPS signal wires, we got a 5-volt reference and a low reference. So we have a 5-volt reference, a low reference, and a TPS signal 1 and a TPS signal 2. On these outer two wires right here. Okay, so I printed up a test procedure that we're going to run through real quick. Looking at this here, let's go down to, and I said I wanted to talk about sensor 1, I believe it was. Hold on a second. It was sensor 1 circuit low, sensor 2 throttle position sensor 2 high voltage. So let's go back. So looking at sensor 1, we've got, let me get a connector view real quick. The connector on this thing. Throttle body gas, except HP2. Is that one, y'all? All right, this is the end view looking at it. A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right, we're good to go on this. So let's do this. Let's go down to, let's see, sensor 1 is down here. Test for less than 1 volt between the sensor 1 signal circuit D and ground. And D is right here, and D would be, what color wire? A dark green. So we got a dark green wire. Let's see if we've got on sensor 1. On sensor 1 it says check for less than 1 volt. All right. When you're running these tests, you do have to have the key on. I've got the meter hooked to the battery ground. I do have a battery saver on it to maintain some volts so we don't lose any battery. And I think the first one was a D, which was a dark green. That is right here. And we have 0.0388. So we have less than 1 volt on that one. So the next test we're going to run is on the sensor 2 signal circuit. It should be between 0.48 and 0.52 volts, so roughly 5-volt reference. So let me see what circuit F looks like. Circuit F would be the purple wire. And the purple wire is right here. This is F, purple wire. Let's see what that is. It's at 5, it's almost at 5.5 volts. That's too high. It's definitely too high. Now we're at 9.5, 10 volts. It's moving as we're sitting here. That is definitely not correct. Let's see, okay. So watching that purple wire, we've definitely got too many volts there. Make sure I got the right wire. The bottom one is brown and yellow. Top is green, gray, and purple. And it is the outer one. So we definitely have 10 volts. That is way too many volts for that. So if I'm not mistaken, let's go back and look at something real quick. On the wiring diagram, that purple wire, let's highlight it real quick so we can follow it. Purple wire is right there. If you follow it on down, that is the only thing that is on that ECM. Does not share with anything else. And it says right here, circuit was too high. So that is probably going to be our problem, because we are way out of specs. Looking at those test results, I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to condemn the computer. I normally don't just condemn a computer that fast without getting into it and checking other things, but that is the only thing that wire feeds, is that sensor. One wire from that computer to that sensor. I mean, if it's split off in other sensors, you know, I would say, okay, let's check other sensors and make sure nothing is whacked out, causing that to have a bad reading. But it is not. That is the only thing that wire does. I did, and I don't know if I don't think it was on camera, but I did shake the wires. I looked at the harnesses. I didn't see anything that was frayed, cracked. None of the numbers changed when I moved it. Everything stayed the same. So we're gonna go with a bad computer. It hadn't been long ago, I just put a computer in a truck like this, and I think from the dealer, I wanna say it was somewhere around 260. So that's the route we're going. We're not gonna go with aftermarket. That's gonna be your better choice, especially on a price for a couple $100, you know, that's a no-brainer, right? All right, let me call that dealer. Let me confirm that price. Let me call the customer what I found, and I will catch you in a bit. So sometimes when you go with your gut, I don't know, it's like you're looking for trouble. I said, let me shake this harness one more time. Let me just be a little bit more rougher on it, and let's see what I come up with. As I was shaking it, if you look right here, it went from 10 point something to 4.3. I found a spot back here in the back. Watch this. Now I'm at 3, 2, now I'm at 2 volts. Now I'm at 1. So now I'm at 4.2. I guess what I'm trying to say is, no matter what your gut says, make sure you do all the testing correctly. I would have bought a computer, put it in, and it would not have fixed the problem. So we're definitely gonna save the customer some money this way, and I'm sure he'll be happy about that, and I won't look like an idiot. I ain't trusting my gut no more. Nah, you know that's a lie. Sometimes you gotta go with your gut. But my gut told me to go back and check my gut. Does that make any sense? Yeah. My gut said get a computer, then my gut told me to check my gut to make sure the gut feeling the first time I had was gonna be correct. You know what? I went back and second guessed myself, checked it, and we got a bad wire. We'll leave it at that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut into it, and let's see if we can find where that bad wire is. Look, now we're at 0 volts. Come on, man. All right, so we got this one going in here, and right here. So moving this wire around, I've kind of narrowed it down to like right along here somewhere. I'm not even doing anything, just sitting here and just moving around. But I've kind of got it narrowed down. I feel like I see a little bad spot right here, and just jumping around. Right here's a big old hump in it. It's like maybe it might be loose right along here. So shaking it is, to me, is right along here somewhere. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna pierce the wire back here. I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm gonna replace it anyway if it's bad. I mean, if this is a good point, I'm gonna replace it right here anyway. So I'm gonna pierce it right here. And let's, I don't know, let's take it to right about here, let's say. And let's see if those volts stay when I move it now. What I've done is basically bypass that. So we have 4.6, still jumping around, ain't it? Something ain't right. I hope it's not all coincidental and is a computer. Sure, let me jump it over here, see what happens. Let's take a big leap. Alright, basically I went all the way to the connector right here with it, and I jumped it right back in here, and we have 4.8 volts. We don't have any issues. I'm gonna just have to, I think I'm gonna run that wire this from back here to all the way to here, just a new wire. Staying good, staying good, staying good. I'm moving all the wires around. So let's take this jumper wire off now. Let's see what happens. Yep, boom, there we go. Oh, come on. I hate when this bitch times out on me. It's here, definitely up here somewhere. So it's kind of funny. As I was cutting the wires back, this purple wire was like melted to some other wires. They're all kind of stuck together here, like they're melted together, but they're actually not through. Now that's sitting pretty at 4.9. Let me unplug this real quick, because I did have the right wire. Go back and see, can I change it? Yeah, it's something along here has got it. I wish I could find the exact place it's messed up at, but it is not working with me like that. Yeah, I know, you're timing out again. So let me tell you what I've done. I had a bad connection going on with my jumper lead that I had on there. I fixed that, and what I did, I put the jumper back over here, and I took the jumper lead and I put it to just to the outside of the clip going into the throttle body. I mean the connector going into the throttle body. I did an idle relearn, started the vehicle, and no more check engine lights come on, and everything, it hadn't drawn any red flags. Check it out. So if you're looking, if there were any flags or any readings not correct, this thing would jump up a red flag on you. And we're not getting anything. Look on the side over here, and we got the same thing going on. Intake is 100, airflow, map is 12, 29.5 is good. Closed loop, fuel trim. Let's exit this out here. Let's go look at sensor data. So these are all the sensors. O2 sensors, the CAT, engine speed, intake, startup, spark, map. Over here we look good. Coolant, airflow, map. The TP the TP sensor that test passed. The map sensor passed. So what's going to happen is I'm going to end up running a new wire from back of that harness all the way to the clip, because it just seemed like no matter where I touched it along that way, there's something that wasn't right there. You know, it's possible, like I was telling you earlier, those wires were all stuck together. You know, maybe it got hot at one time and burnt up some wires inside the harness. I don't know. Either way, that's what I'm going to do. Everything is looking good. This thing's been running now for probably about 10 minutes. The only light we have on here is a traction control and the tire pressure monitor, and we're not worried about any of those. His biggest thing was the running. But I'm gonna let it run for about another 10 minutes. Then what we'll do is I'll do that wire repair, then we'll go for our test drive. And when I do that, I'll get you guys back in on the test drive so we can take a look at it. All right, see you in a bit. All right, so we're gonna crimp this. I'm gonna do this one sitting right here, so that way when it's on the car, I ain't gotta fight by one side of it. Give it a little tug, make sure it's secure. All right, let's go up here and let's cut this wire back here and let's strip that one. So the issue we were having was, like I said, somewhere between here and here, various places I moved it, and I got totally different readings. So we're gonna splice that wire right in here. These buck connectors have the heat shrink on it, and they got the little crap that oozes out. This is a perfectly acceptable repair for this, but I'm sure we'll have somebody in the comments say something. Alright, let's go here to this connector here. I'm going to cut it back to right about here. Tell you what, wearing these contacts. While I'm wearing these contacts, should I say, if I start sweating real bad, everything gets blurry. I gotta keep blinking my eyes. That's the length we're going with, so I'll put it right here. And we'll move it on to here, so we at least got the same length. And we're gonna trace this wire back to where, back like it was, which went down here. We're definitely gonna have to do some taping on this harness. Looked like it was missing some tape anyway. Kind of went around like this and back up through this way and right up into here. Put a little twist on this, just a little twist. So before I button it up 100%, I'm gonna take it on a test drive so I can watch the readings, make sure everything does good, and just make sure it doesn't mess up again. All right, I'll get my torch out and let's ooze it on out, baby. Ooze it on out. All right, well, I think this would be good enough for the test drive. That's good enough for that. Let's go for our test drive and let me put a few miles on this thing and let's see exactly what's going to go down. Nothing's in the way, it looks like, and I'll get all that secured up before I give it back to the customer. Let me show you what I've done here. I went into a throttle position test, key on, engine off at 10%. Let's look at the TPS volts. That one is under a volt, which it should be. This one is 4 volts. As I increase it, watch what happens. One gets higher and one gets lower, and they are sweeping together. So all the way at 100%, that's at 4.6, that's at under a volt. So that looks pretty good. Let's do a throttle sweep test. I was going to do something different, but let's check this one out here too. So on its own, it says TPS 1 and 2 both agree so far. As it sweeps, this one's getting lower and that one's getting higher, and they both agree so far. Starts over again, all the way back up. Nice. Everything's looking good so far. All right, we're on our test drive. I've cycled the key about 6 times. This is like my 6th time from cycling the key. I'll test drove it, cut it off, start it, test drove it, cut it off, start it. You know, because sometimes so many key cycles, things happen. But you're with me on the last test drive. The only lights we have is the tire monitor and that looks like a anti-traction light or something's on. But he doesn't want to mess with those, so we're not messing with that. But everything's looking pretty good. So a few things to think about. Don't just throw parts at a car. We're not just parts changers, we're mechanics. We try to fix the actual problem. They threw a throttle body on it. It didn't fix the problem. I was getting ready to put a computer on it because I guess I'll just say I was going to be lazy. I just assumed it was going to be a computer. That's what my gut told me. But I did go back and second guess myself, and lo and behold, it wasn't a computer. It was going to be a bad spot in that wire somewhere, because you could see as I moved that wire, you could see the volts just going up and down. So moral of the story is, don't be a parts changer. All right, that is it for this video. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Catch you later.